guys, and welcome to my channel at Connect the Dot Media, and I am your host. Yeah, guys, today I have a very interesting story of a woman who killed. Some of you may even know the story. It's from about, well, I think it was oh gosh, it's probably going on about 5 years ago now. But this story would have stood out because of what she did. And I'm going to be looking at the psychological aspects of why she done what she done at the time. So this is the woman who killed her two children and put them in the freezer. And it took about 2 years before obviously somebody found them and reported it. Now, this woman, I'm going to say this now. I don't agree with anything she done, and she had her reasons for what she done. Obviously, we will have our reasons, but I don't agree with it. But I do believe, I'm just saying right now, unless there's other evidence that comes out to refute it, I believe what she's saying. I do believe this went on. But all this is showing is that the household was very, very sick. For your 13-year-old daughter, for those who don't know this story, to turn around and start sexually abusing your, I think, how old? A 6-year-old, to start abusing her 6-year-old brother, she was sick. And then you have her abusing also at the time, I think it was a 9-year-old, but I think he was murdered. He was also killed. But the 9-year-old, and then got him to now abuse the 6-year-old as well. I do actually believe her story, but I don't agree with how it was handled. But I want to look at the reasons why she did what she did. I can see how it transpired. I can sympathize to a certain extent with the anger and everything, because she was abused when she was younger, very much abused. So all the feelings, all the shame, all the frustration and anger that was pent up from her abuse that never got dealt with was taken out on those children. But she has to understand, your children, especially the older one, because it was mainly the older one, the 13-year-old girl, was sick to do what she did. And there was something going on with her. And if anything, I believe she was probably trying to get back at the mother for whatever reason. But anyway, let's listen to some of what she has to say and continue the commentary.
Can you talk me through the type of abuse that you had to suffer as a kid?
You mean sexual abuse?
If that's what happened?
That definitely did happen to me. That's why I know exactly how would have grew up. I told my mother what happened to me. And the only thing she said was, it's over with, so what the you want me to do about it? What do you mean what I want you to do? You get what I'm saying? So all I could do is go back and sit in my room and just sit there and look stupid. I'm a kid. And I'm just telling you what happened to me. You didn't do about it. And plus, I still had to see the person coming in and out my house. You still friends with that person.
So do you believe that the violent person you went on to become, you were a product of your own childhood?
I mean, everybody have choices, so I can't just blame all that on my mom, because I was still an adult. Maybe I should have tried hard to get over that. But anybody who knows me, that touching the kids.
So that's the thing. She is aware. And that the thing is, most people are aware that they do need to overcome this. But again, what stops people from really going and getting the help that they need? Because if you have any understanding of it, you should know that it would change your life. But life itself gets in the way. Depression, stress, priorities are elsewhere. Just life itself. So people don't focus on the things that they really need to look at. Because everything about your life is pending on how you feel, your beliefs, on a spiritual level, even where you vibrate. People know what vibration is. It all depends on like where your spirit is. Is it in a good place? Is it in a bad place? So people know they need to, some people anyway, they know they need to do the work, they need to overcome it. But most never do.
The molesters, that no, no. If that's one thing I definitely would have killed over, it would have always been that. It's like I grew up I even tried to talk to my mom when I got in my mid-20s. She had strokes and things like that, and I'm like, Mom, she could barely talk. You could barely talk. She had so many strokes, and I'm telling you what my problem was always with you. The hitting and all that. I just asked you to do something. The person lives around the corner on this particular time, it was just a woman named. She lives around the corner. She want to walk around like she big and bad all day. Well, mama, you big and bad. Everybody's scared of you. But when I come to you with some real and I tell you what happened to me, you didn't walk your around that corner and do to that woman.
And the thing is, yeah, it's really sad that there are these parents out here who call themselves parents. They know their children have been abused, or even if they don't, their children come to them to be saved, to be protected. And these parents do nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like she just explained, her mum would take care of any other thing, stupid shit, all this type of stuff. But then when she asked her, you shouldn't even have to ask your parent. It should be literally you tell them the story and they go and deal with it and deal with you with love. But with a lot of these people, there is nothing. You're a child. What do you know? And this person does absolutely nothing to protect you and literally tells you to get over it in seconds. And then you continue to have the person coming into the household as if nothing went down. How that must feel for the person. As I said before, I am not agreeing with her actions. I'm just trying to analyze her thoughts and her feelings and on how she got to where she got and why she did what she did.
Like a coward. So no. And this is why I say my kids knew better, because I've always told them everything that happened to me. I told them why, because I don't understand why it took me so long to tell my mom when I was a kid. You never talked to me about like this, but when I did come to you, you didn't do. So I always made sure I told my kids this. I told them what happened to me, how it happened to me, how it made me feel in detail. And I say, if anybody ever touches y'all, you better tell me. They knew. I always talk to my kids about that touching from anybody. So they definitely knew. And this is the part that really gets me. I used to tell her, rape is the worst thing you can do. I tell her all the time. They used to make me feel like I was nothing. It made me feel like I wasn't. You turn around, you do that to my son, you knew exactly what you was doing to him.
It's possible that Stoney, because the Stoney is the 13-year-old daughter who actually carried out what she's saying, that carried out the sexual abuse. It's possible, obviously Stoney's sick. To do something like that, she's sick. But there is some kind of resentment that went on. And maybe she saw the younger one getting all the love and all the attention. So then that was her way of getting back at the mother. Because like she said, Stoney knew. She spoke to all the kids. That was a lot to tell these kids, but she told the kids because she was, I suppose, using it as some type of protection for them. She told them all, if you get abused, obviously what she just said, then you need to come and let me know. So maybe because of some kind of resentment or whatever's going on in the household, because once again, I'll say the household was sick, Stoney may have used it, if this is true, may have used it to get back at her. And that's the one thing she knew she could use to get back at the mother.
She knew exactly what the fuck she was doing to him. So yeah, I don't care what anybody think. She had to go, period. So I damn sure wasn't about to let grew up mad as hell all the damn time. Can't trust nobody. When it was just...
Now she's talking about how she feels. She's actually, she has become, psychologically, she has become the son. She don't want him to grow up, what she just said, what she just explained. This is her she's talking about. She's seeing herself through the son. So all that anger, she weren't going to have it. She couldn't get her abuser. So now she's going to get the abuser of her son, even if it was her own children. She was going to be the victor. She was going to save her son, literally saving herself, but also saving the son from this abuse. She's going to teach. She was going to revenge what happened to her. And it happened to be, obviously, her children.
It's as simple as, you're my mother, do something. Didn't call the police, didn't do. Just said, it's over with now. What the you want me to do about it? That's my response. So yeah, that's the problem. And this is what can happen to a kid. When like that goes. That wasn't happening to my son, period. So when I say he got closure, he got it. I know exactly what he was feeling. Even when my son was talking to me about some of the stuff, he would go like this to his face, and he'd be like, Mom, and it felt so nasty. And that right there, I knew exactly what he was doing. I knew how he was feeling, because that's how I used to feel. When he did that, I knew it.
Yeah. So that was basically, that was it. I believed this was done. I definitely believe this went down. And she does go into further detail, which we will go into later, about exactly what was done to the son. You know, from feces and all this type of business was all involved in it. Period blood was also involved in it. Now, I'm just saying, with all of that type of grossness going on, and the fact that, couple that together with her own feelings of abuse, she just wanted to kill somebody. She just wanted to take them out. She wanted to get back at them. She wanted them gone. She wanted to destroy what she saw as the perpetrators.
There ain't no amount of talking. It was, no. So when you tell me she was a 13-year-old child, okay. Some of the most heinous crimes in this world has been by kids. So I don't want to hear that. That's my family. I don't give a damn what America thinks. But I also want to tell America they can kiss my ass. Don't throw no stones, because they got a whole lot coming their way too. They just feel more comfortable for them to be able to say, well, my sin is not as bad as yours if I didn't kill my kids. That in God's eyes, we all down here. That's period.
Okay.
But I love and I love and I'm always love him. That's my son.
Miss Blair?
So this will be her talking about basically what happened and what she done to these children.
What did you do to Stony Blair that makes you guilty of premeditated murder?
She raped my son. I intentionally killed her.
How did you do that?
Starting from the beginning, when I found out about what Sony was doing to Matthew, it was 9 months later after finding out about Stephen. So for the whole 9 months we were in the house, she was still raping my child. I did not know that. When I first found out, after Maddie told me, I took a minute because I was not understanding, that she did that to him. But I repeatedly punched her. On many occasions, my son, I told him to tell me every single thing she did to him. So as he was telling me more and more things that she did. I assaulted her every time he told me what she did to him. By assault, I mean I punched her. I had put a bag over her head till she lost consciousness.
See how during all these assaults, and remember, each assault was done at a different time, maybe a different day. See how Stony, she didn't leave the house and go and get help. Didn't complain to nobody. So it's almost like, I'm not saying that level of abuse was normal, but some form of abuse was normal in this house. On some level. Maybe not as bad, but some level.
I threw hot water on her, scalding hot water from the faucet.
Did you hit her in the head with a wooden
Yes,
stick?
I hit her on her head multiple times, over and over.
Remember, this is pain. This is nothing but pain for you. Can you imagine if it was you and I, somebody's abusing us, even as a child, and it's something that you're not used to experiencing? Do you think we wouldn't try and get some kind of help? We would run and go and get some help. We wouldn't be dealing with that. That's not our reality. That's not something that we're used to experiencing. Even just the pain alone would trigger us to go and get it. But this, on some level, was normal in this household. Even if it was your mother, you would, and you're not used to it, you go and fish for help. The normal person would do this.
Was that shortly before she died?
That was actually the day before she died and the day she died.
Okay.
I hit on her back. It's like on her tailbone. I kicked her.
Okay, I just want to clarify a few things. And perhaps you don't know, but did this happen on or about May 25th, 2014?
May 25th is actually the day she died. Well, the day I killed her.
And you said you killed her by putting a grocery bag over her head?
Yes, that day, Maddie would tell me different things because she was doing this to him for years. And I did not know that. You get what I'm saying? And I didn't find out till 9 months later. She had started with Steven. She ruined my son, okay? She started with Steven before he even started. So
from what she said, it sounds like she started with the other son first. And then apparently that same son went on to abuse the smallest one, which is the one that she's trying to save. So he was also abusing his younger brother.
yes, I put a bag over her head, but it got worse that day. Yes, I did. It got worse that day because Matthew would tell me how she would take her pad, her menstrual pad, and squeeze her blood out in his mouth. Okay? And it was over with after that. It was over with.
You meant to kill her?
I definitely meant to kill her.
Okay. It wasn't an accident?
No, not at all. If I had a chance to do it again, I would.
When you went and got the grocery bag and suffocated her, that was your intent?
Yes. She was standing in the bathtub. I was throwing hot water on her. My son was standing to my right outside the bathroom door, and he was telling me everything he was telling me. I looked at her, and I'm like, "You did this?"
And the thing is, there was no help in the sense of he's watching the abuse as well. So she's not thinking about the psychological impact of him actually watching her abuse the sister. Even if it's in her mind, she's doing it to avenge what the daughter done. But the fact that she's allowing now this child to learn, you see, the thought processes are so, oh my gosh, they're so whack. They're so whacked.
Like, yes, so I actually had a stick and I was hitting her in the head. Every time he told me something, I hit her very hard in her head, and I was throwing hot water on her. And when I actually took her out of the bathroom, I took her back in her room, and I just kept staring at her, and I said, excuse my language, but I'm like, why the fuck would you do this to him? Just like, I'm constantly asking her. She kept saying, I hate him.
So wait a minute, with all was going on, hot water, getting bashed in the head, this person was still conscious? So them hits couldn't have been that hard then. And then was able to have a conversation and talk about how she hates him. How did this happen? How are you still talking? So I don't know. If someone's whacking you in the head with something, it's just a bit. See, this is what I'm saying. This was kind of normal in this household. I think it was definitely something that was the norm.
And I'm like, you hate him? You know? And she admitted to me that she hated Gabrielle, she hated Steven, she hated everybody. And I'm asking her why. She says, everybody always think Matthew's so cute. And I'm like, so you like your brother, because you get what I'm saying. So I meant to. I definitely meant to. And I do not feel any remorse for what I did to Sony. Because she had no remorse for what she did to my son. This not only raped him, gang raped him with Steven. Matthew, we're all sitting on the floor, and he was telling me, this is how I found out about both of them doing it together. But it was too late. Steven was gone. But Matthew told me that Stoney would actually make him sit there. Why? In his words, her and Stoney did the nasty stuff, and then they did it to him. And
so this was your way of inflicting punishment?
Definitely.
Okay.
All right, let's move it forward a little bit.
Reject her question, but I will answer it, because no one will say that this did not happen, because, you know,
okay.
At a certain point, I told him to stop talking. And I said, Stoney, you tell me what the fuck you did to my son. And I said, Matthew, if she's saying anything that's not right, tell me. She started telling me many things. And I also asked her, so why didn't Steven tell me that when I asked him, did anybody do this to him? Why didn't he tell me that you did it to him? Because Stoney was going upstairs, beating Steven's ass, threatening him. Basically, at a certain point, after I was hitting Steven, I didn't want to look at him. I didn't want to look at him, so I told him to go to his room. When it came time to eat, I didn't want to take no food up, so I sent Stoney up because she volunteered, not knowing at that time that Stoney was raping either of them. But every time she went upstairs, I wouldn't have known if she hit him or not, because I had put many bruises on him. So every time she went upstairs, she admitted to me that she was hitting him also, knocking the hell out of him, telling him, you better not tell her nothing. Okay. You get what I'm saying?
I understand. When she admitted these things to you, were you always being physical with her?
The first time, no. We were sitting there.
Okay.
She denied it constantly. I'm like, Stoney, you better tell me the fucking truth. Matthew's sitting here, he don't know nothing about it.
Right, so okay, so that's as far as I'm gonna go with her describing everything. Steven, she talked in this same in this court case here, she speaks about what she does on a whole to all the children. It's very difficult in this case to pull as much information as I would like to be able to analyze it, because there's not many people that was in the household. I mean, there is the other daughter, and she does speak about seeing certain things that went on. She talks about seeing the bodies, and the other brother as well, seeing the bodies in the freezer. Why would you show your children bodies in the freezer? Why would she do this? This don't make no sense. Why does she do that? See, everything she does, there's no thought about how this is what an effect this is having on her children. There's no thought process. And this is what I'm saying, when somebody is just detached, when somebody's mind and soul, spirit, every aspect of them is not functioning in balance. She spoke to the children about her own abuse, made it clear to them it's the worst thing that can happen. Probably even murder wouldn't even matter. It seems like it. Murder seems to be okay. But the abuse. And then she kills 2 children for abuse, that I believe abuse was already going on in the house at some level. She couldn't cope. She had 2 Dusties for baby fathers. You'll find all this. There's lots more information there that I'm just going to brief through very quickly, because we don't want to make this video go on super long. So she had 2 Dusties for baby fathers. They claimed that one wasn't really functioning at all, because each one had a child. One was Stephen's father, one was Stoney's father. They had a child each. And basically there was one just didn't bother at all, and there's another one who he would have, I think he would maybe have his child now and again. But they're saying that she was trying to stop them from seeing the children, but I don't think so. Based on the evidence I looked at, it didn't seem so. I think they were just, again, they just weren't that interested. They just couldn't be bothered. You know how it goes. They're crying now because of what's gone on and what's happened. But, you know, who would expect this to happen? But I don't think they played much interest. And I think they would have been fathers, again, that would be probably would stop around now and again if they could. But she's kind of aggressive, and if you look at some of the cases and you look at the court stuff, she just had it with them. She hated them. She resented them, obviously because they weren't being fathers. But again, you picked them. And that's the next thing. I'm not saying everybody, but when you have these imbalanced issues, which on some level we all have some level of imbalances. No one's balanced out here. Not living in this type of modern society, because naturally we are nature beings. You just can't function right. Your brain is not going to make decisions that are going to be balanced for you to be able to progress in a normal way and live a functional life. You've been abused. Then you make decisions in life that are not helping you to move forward or to prosper. Some of the people you're picking are not the right people. You're attracting are not the right people that you probably should even have in your life. You probably picked two of the no good fathers. They're not the worst, but they're no good. You're living in poverty. And there's many other things that are going on. Life is hell. And then you bring others into that. Hence, you bring in children now to live in the hell that you're already living in. None of your problems are dealt with. Nothing. You just keep it moving. And the reaction to this hell is to lash out on some level, whether it's in abuse, maybe the way, you know, you treat the children. One may have been getting favoritism. It looked like this last one was getting favoritism. One don't feel like they're being loved. It's a whole cycle of just absolute insanity. And it doesn't happen to everybody that's been abused. Some people will go through abuse and will do everything in their power to make sure that this does not they understand that they don't want this to be handed down to the next generation. Some people, I understand that, because we're not all the same. Not that one's not better than that one. It's just that that person may have taken the opportunity, may have been, their mind works differently. Some might have got opportunity from somebody else stepping in. There's many different dynamics to this, many different dynamics. So the neighbors speak about, in this case, they talk about, oh, she was nice, and, you know, she was nice to the children. Anybody can put on a happy face when they're out and about making everything look normal, until when they get in and that door closes. We don't know what's going on behind that door. So it's a really, and now, like I said, it's got to this point. It got to the point, if she hadn't been abused, or she had dealt with her abuse, or she probably would have brought up her children a lot different. Nobody would have resented anybody. It's just handing down that silver spoon. I won't even call it silver. Just handing down the madness to the next generation. It's insane. But the only thing that was her main concern, don't abuse. That's it. Don't abuse. So I just want to add, the reason why nobody, like for instance, Stoney's father, and Stephen's father was able to not know that their children were dead for the last 2 years was because they hadn't seen them for years. When they were younger, that's what the time when they were obviously spending time around there. And even then, she speaks about him being drunk all the time when Stoney would go around there, and I think his girlfriend or something like that would pay more attention, according to what she was saying, would pay more attention to Stoney than he would. So over time, they weren't there at all. They didn't see their children at all. So she just really hated them. You could see in the court case, she got up, she wanted to punch their lights out. But yeah, so it's a really sad story. But in her mind, she done her job. She protected her son in the end when she found out, and did what she had to do. Something that didn't happen for her, like I've spoken about. Something her mum didn't do. And we think that these things can just be wiped away. All these injuries that people get through these childhood, think they are just wiped away. All what happens is people will hold on to it. The beliefs and the energy of it is being held there. And sometimes it lays dormant until an event like this can bring this out. Just the explosion is waiting. It's a sad situation. And a lot of people need therapy. Everybody could do with at least a mild bit of therapy, but there's a lot of people that can do with some severe therapy, get down and dirty, work on oneself. The teacher really is inside of you. If you really want it, the teacher is inside. I bet you're not talking to a demon though. But you are your teacher within. But sometimes I think most people need another person to kind of step in there and really look at the situation from outside in, to be honest. Because sometimes when you're living in your little world, you don't see the bigger picture. But anyway, guys, thank you for joining me again on this channel. And I will continue to bring the videos because I do like to look at certain things. I wish I had more information on this one. But, I just wanted to touch on it anyway. I got all these other little news videos of people doing certain things to bring. And it's just, just to allow people to see things. To see how destructive little minute things can be. Just as destructive as those big things. And why it's important to make things your priority. We know life gets in the way. And it feels like it's, I'll leave it to another time. But it helps, not in a good way. What it does, it creates, I'm looking for a word. It's almost like, put it this way, if you make an example, the actual abuse is creating your life. Because your mind is focused on all the feelings from that abuse. I had a lady who I was working with, I come from a social care background, so I was working with one particular lady, and she was abused by her and her sister was abused by their own grandfather. And she went on and lived a normal life. And went and got a job and did this and that. And then all of a sudden, she just broke down. Started drinking, started smoking like a chimney. And it just destroyed her. It destroyed her. All of that destroyed her. The family didn't pay no attention. You talk about it, but they couldn't face it. That's all it boiled down to. They couldn't face it. Her mother couldn't face the fact that her father abused her child. It was something that just didn't, I can see why, and I get it. But it doesn't bring closure or help for that person who actually suffered. And then you have the sister. She used obesity to cope with it. She didn't want. I think the psychological aspects of that is that you don't want to be seen as being attractive. That's why she did. She put on lots and lots and lots of weight because she was pretty big. She was married though, and she did have children. So I will say that. But that was why she put on weight initially. That's what she said to me as well. She just didn't want to seem attractive. Because I was able to speak to the sister, but both of them were abused by their grandfather. One of them has passed now as well, but she was just really making herself unhealthy through the drinking a whole bottle of vodka a day. And she went to rehab, all of that. That didn't work for her. Didn't work for her and her situation. But anyway, I will speak more about this another time, guys. Thank you for joining the channel and listening to this video. Thumbs up, comment, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you on another video. Bye, guys.